talk directly to the community about how they feel about like what's going on, what's been going on, what's missing, what's needed, what do we need to thrive, and then from that, conversation on into like, how do we make that happen now? How do we make that a reality? And what's coming that we all need to be so much a part of? Like everybody needs to be engaged in the participatory budgeting process. And so as we're doing this push, our researchers are on the ground, boots on the ground, talking to all kind of folks in the community, from not only doing the actual survey, but to people in our community that sit in different places in our community that their voices aren't heard. And so that's like our focus, is amplifying the voice of the Black community, which has been gentrified. Like people are like, oh, we're talking about Seattle. No, when we talk about Black folks, we got to talk about the county, because we don't live in Seattle no more, not by choice, because we've been gentrified smooth out of it. And so that's a reflection of this system that we've been under for so long, and all over the nation is really happening. So our community is saying, domestic violence is really high right now as a result of COVID and what's been happening. Our community is saying, we don't feel safe in our communities, and we don't have good relationships always with the police. And our community is saying we need more support around housing and mental health. And what can we do collectively together to do that? So part of what the Silent Task Force does is we believe in partnering, and we partner with a lot of community-based organizations, folks that are on the ground doing the work, whether it's with food security, whether it's working directly in the schools with parents and school administrations to improve the lives of our Black and brown young people and their parents by engaging them, particularly at this critical time. What we're finding is that, and this is a nationwide issue, though, so many families have fallen off the radar, particularly brown and Black families. The kids aren't showing up for online class. Is that because they don't have a hotspot? Is that because they don't have adequate computer? Is it what's the reason? Is it because there's problems in the home? What's going on with our children? What's going on with our families? So we have the opportunity to work directly with the schools to determine that, right? And to get resources to families. So we're doing a lot of amazing work. We're excited to be on the ground talking directly to our community right now. We're doing a push with some of our churches and some of our like outreach workers who've been a part of movements in Seattle in the past. Like when we talk about HIV, right? When we talk about, doing outreach to ID users and sex workers, and getting them, the important tests they need, but not only tests, we're talking about getting them kits, like a safe sex kit. Like, you want some condoms? You need a mitt? What do you need? Information? You need somebody to go to the hospital with you, that type of stuff, which, has been around and it has happened for years in Seattle, but a lot of those folks never get a shout out for all the incredible work they do supporting, different parts and different aspects of our community. So it's all relevant. It's all important. We're excited to bring all the people to the table because we believe in the participatory budgeting process. And we know how important it is for those who haven't had a voice to have a voice, and give them the opportunity to know this is happening and to activate yourself and other leaders around you. Let's all do this together because it requires community to make this happen. So I'm just saying we're excited for the participatory budgeting process. We've been talking about it so much because it's what's happening next, right? That's why we're talking about it, right? It's like, the research happens, we get our findings, and then it informs the participatory budgeting process. So that's like, that's the math right there. So we're excited. And Mary, you got anything to say? I know I've just been blah, 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 because once I get started, I go, 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 go. So you want to say anything?
No, I don't have too much to add. We've just been real busy, and we're making our connections like we do. Of course, a lot of legislative stuff been jumping off, HB 1054, HB, there's so many of them, 1300, the Emmanuel Ellis bill, so many things. So yeah, we're just out here in the struggle, shoulder to shoulder, because we know the power of the people don't stop. That's it.
Yeah. Thank y'all. God bless everybody. Be safe.
LaTanya, can we see your whole shirt?
You can. Let's see.
Bam.
I got this I was at the station. They had it on sale, right?
We love the station. We got to drop a link in the comments to the station for those of you who don't know.
Yeah, they're amazing people.
And drop our new website, which is fire.
Done. It is fire. I shared that with Nas. Nas posted it.
Oh, right on. Thank you guys so much. So we're in the struggle together. We appreciate each and everybody. We're looking forward to this next presentation. Thank you guys. You know, we're here. We're with you.
Thank you so much, LaTanya and Mary with the Silent Task Force. We love y'all. Oh my goodness. Yes, it is amazing work. And I must say, LaTanya, like your team in particular has been fantastic at making sure that we have such reach in community. It is one of those things where, you know, we are just really trying to touch and talk to everybody. We're trying to get out there and make sure people know what's going on. Not trying to have anybody feeling left out. We are out there doing the work, and it's one of those things where what I'm really excited about, beyond the many cool things about this research, because, you know, I'm a data nerd, but it's like turning the research into action, making it like a real thing where there's like actual resources that go into community based on what people have said, and not just anybody and everybody, but really focusing on our Black communities, focusing on our Black and Brown communities, listening to our Indigenous siblings, and just really trying to figure out, okay, what needs to happen, because those closest to the issues are closest to the solutions, and we're not a monolith. So like we need to try everything we can, talk to everybody we can to make this work. So I just want to express deep appreciation. And also appreciation to our cultural workers, our artists, our people who are out there every day taking some really complex ideas. Like participatory budgeting is not something anybody and everybody can just like get the first time they hear it. And then turning it into something fun, something exciting, something where you're like, hey, I'm part of that. That could be me. And just seeing yourself reflected in a community-owned process is crucial. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Forever Safe Spaces. There are quite a few of y'all here today, so I don't know who wants to kick us off, but go ahead, chime on in.
There we go. Hi, y'all. My name is Carolyn Hitt, and for those of you who don't know me, I am the founder of both Blue Cone Studios and Forever Safe Spaces. The mission of Blue Cone Studios has always been to seek out, collaborate with, promote, and support artists from traditionally underserved communities, with Forever Safe Spaces actually being founded to amplify and sort of strengthen the support arm of the mission. But today we are going to share a lot of these sort of collaborative efforts that we've been working on for a while now, since before this research project, but what has been particularly highlighted and come to fruition during this whole process. So I'm actually waiting. I might have to go, team, be ready, because I might have to go a little bit out of order. I might have misunderstood the schedule a little bit and didn't think maybe we were to go until 4. So I'm waiting on Kamisha Turner, but in the meantime, I'm just going to switch it around a little bit. One of the reasons I'm here today is to share my good friend Natasha Marin's Black Imagination Sites of Power exhibit. Let's see if we can pull that up a little bit. So Natasha, we've worked on a number of different collaborations, and I'm always really honored to be in space with her and be able to help in any of her exhibits at all. And this particular one, I thought it played in really nicely because she has a lot of sound clips from Black voices and poetry and prompts and questions. It's an extraordinary collaborative exhibit that I highly encourage everybody to visit. In our portion of it, Intellect Troy of BOC Music, and also Acacia and James Porter, who are also a part of our research team, came in. We took some of the sound clips that Natasha had from her project and gave them to our music folks, and they created some music and beats to highlight them, and Natasha added some video, and that's one of the things that we'd like to share with you today. If we can make it play.
Okay, let me know if this audio works, y'all.
I don't hear anything myself. You might have to go to the advanced options under Zoom.
Oh boy. Advanced options, huh?
Or
Yeah.
Thank
I
you
think
all.
if you
Did it
share
start to go?
your audio, when you shared your screen, I think that's where you can also do it.
Yeah.
So unshare.
And then
Okay.
go to share screen. And
Okay.
then in the lower left-hand corner, there's a little box that
Ah.
says share sound. So once you do that, it'll work just fine. And for those of you watching, now you too will know how to share your sound on the next teach-in you do.
Thank you. Here we go.
So I think you can all see why it's such an incredible privilege and honor to be able to collaborate with Natasha, whose whole entire practice is about collaboration and amplification of Black stories, Black histories, Black futures. So I highly, highly recommend that you go and explore the entire Black Imagination exhibit. It's at black-imagination.com. There's so many different videos. There's so many different sounds. You don't have to watch. There are things to just listen to, things to explore and read. You would be doing yourself a great service. So I think we're still waiting on Kamisha, and we're going to talk a little bit about another way. I mean, it's so deep how we all collaborate, right? Kamisha's got a show at Vermilion right now called Debt to the Queen. Natasha also did a painting in that show, as well as a number of other people we'll talk about later, as well as Takia Ward, who's been a member of Blue Cone for many years. So we'll talk about that in a minute, but right now we'll move on. Is Marcus still here? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So if you see behind me, I've got these burlap sacks. You can't really tell they're burlap sacks right now because I've painted them all. But it actually goes back to a couple of months ago. The reason these are here is because a couple of months ago, Vivian from Northwest Film Forum reached out to me. I do sort of custom remodels, normally like small scale furnitures or little tiny things like that, but she actually reached out to me to do a shed remodel and possibly remove a bunch of blackberry bushes, right? So now I'm just one person, you know, like I can do a lot of things, but there are also many things that I have no idea how to do. But I knew that my studio assistant, JJ, had experience in landscaping, and that Marcus from Black Star Farmers, his partner Orion, had a landscaping business. So I went and I checked out the shed and realized that it was way out of scope of something that I could handle on my own. That this was going to be definitely need to bring some people in. And Marcus works in construction and remodels as well. And I figured he could help me with the more foundational elements. I'm much more of a sort of interior designer. So he can come with that real foundational support, plus Orion with the landscaping. So they come in and they do the landscaping, and in the removal of the blackberry bushes, Marcus shows up with a giant van full of burlap sacks, right? Because you got to put the burlap sacks down to stop the blackberry bushes from coming back out, right? And he just mentions to me on the side, he's like, hey, it'd be great to turn these burlap sacks into tote bags. I wonder if there's a machine anywhere so that we can use them, repurpose them to pack the food that they distribute monthly via Ujima Food Circle, right? And I was like, I know people with sewing machines, right? So our grandiose plan of getting 100 bags made, we had to sort it out. But the studio that we were in, the burlap was too irritated her. So we're actually working now on getting an industrial machine and serger up in the studio so that we can continue repurposing those bags on a regular basis and always have a good supply of them for y'all to distribute, so that we don't have to continue putting out cardboard boxes and things like that. But that said, I will turn it over to Marcus, who can tell you a little bit more about Ujima Food Circle.
Appreciate it, Carolyn. Oh my God, those are burlap sacks behind you? Those are beautiful.
Oh yeah. So now this is how I'm raising money, in the way I painted the burlap sacks. People can bid on the burlap sacks, or if they don't bid in time, then I'm gonna rearrange them all and paint more lines on them all. So every sack is a part of the whole thing, but you can buy them separately. So that's my way of contributing to raise money for our projects. Wow. So that's what I'm doing with them. Because as soon as I saw them, I was like, I'm gonna need you to bring me more burlap sacks so that I can paint them. But then once we get a system down of making the tote bags, then we can paint the tote bags and auction them off to raise money, right? Because that's what we do. We just come up with ideas to continue supporting all of our projects and ideas. Kamisha is here. Kamisha, we're gonna come to you right after we talk to Marcus.
Yeah, I'll be quick. So yeah, I mean, this whole Ujima Food Circle thing came out of a grant we received probably in like September last year. It was one of our first big grants, and we were trying to figure out, it was through United Way King County. We got $40,000 through the Community Food Fund to basically supply food through our community. I had been looking into cooperatives for a long time, along with Sarah Tournay, and Roger is someone who we work with closely, and have always been inspired by food buying clubs, and also thinking about the African American heritage of food buying clubs in terms of Black people finishing slavery, leaving slavery, not really leaving slavery in Jim Crow South, stuck in communities where there was a lot of racism. It was hard for farmers to survive and do their work. A lot were forced into sharecropping. So essentially cooperatives and food buying clubs started to establish so that, Blacks could come together and be able to, grow food in a way that was sustainable for their lives, being able to support themselves economically. So we essentially use that to create Ujima Food Circle, which is all about like actually creating economic empowerment through food for Black people in the South End. So our program right now uses wholesale food pricing. We reach out to wholesale suppliers who supply PCC, who supply Central Co-op, who supply Safeway, and we say, hey, we want to buy directly from you so we get food at the cheapest price that we could possibly get it, and then supply that food, that pricing to our families. So the first 2 months was more, we're just out here trying to show people the food that we have. We're giving people flour, oils, like coconut oil, olive oil, fresh produce, rice, beans, like almost everything you could think of. These boxes were like, I think they were like over 50 pounds the first month, and this month I think they were about 80 pounds because people were like, we want more produce. So we gave more produce, all organic, all fresh, whole foods. The first few boxes were vegan just because, refrigeration and all that stuff. And we supplied 100 families the first month. The second month, I think we did 100. Then we did some solidarity boxes to some people on this call. And then this month, we just finished the order forms for February. And within 2 days, our order forms filled up. And I think we have 112 families that signed up for boxes. So yeah, the goal for this long term is for families to be able to buy their food through wholesale and to work to not have to go to Safeway, to not even have to go to PCC, which, PCC has its own thing. We'll talk more about that later. But the whole point here is that, this is about collective food purchasing. This is also an economic way to find stability for ourselves. So that's what Ujima Food Circle is about. I love that Carolyn has jumped in with the burlap bags, but we're trying to show that through our own economic and productive means, we can supply ourselves with not only food, but potentially clothing, potentially, our own education. Like this is a model that grows from the point of food into businesses and into just like, entrepreneurs, right? Like that's what we're doing. We're being entrepreneurs and finding ways in which we can, supply ourselves with our wealth, so just excited to talk about this. You can go to our website, ujimafoodcircle.org. It has a little bit of a description and a way to support, and also potentially soon a way to sign up for a box and show interest. Also our Instagram, ujimafoodcircle.org, just Ujima Food Circle at Instagram. So yeah, please support. Yeah, that's it.
I think we have a video.
Thank you so much, Marcus. It's been a real pleasure. Sarah Tornai brought us together early last summer on some land acquisition opportunities, and since then we've really been delving into that possibility of ownership and being able to do some extended housing and farming and teaching and retreating. You know what I mean. But so thank you. I'm so excited. And I was going to tell you too one last thing, Marcus, because so Sarah sent me the form and was like, hey, we want to get you a food box, and I filled out all the little things for the food box. And I don't have dreams very often, but I literally had a whole dream of packing food boxes. Like I was like, did I go do that? What happened? But I just wanted you to know, like the only dreams I've had recently was about packing food boxes with you. So
shall we watch the video of the boxes being packed? Is that what I have?
We have that?
Marcus?
Well, that's what you got.
Wonderful. And then from there, we'll go right into Kamisha's video, and then we'll talk to her after that. How about?
You got it.
Yeah.
Share audio. Fabulous. Here we go.
Think I've done enough for today. Do what I had to do, and this is enough for me. Never meant to be a winner, never meant to be a quitter. But this is how I lose satisfaction. Ship thrills, ship tricks. What? It seems like the way I live. Said I should be a big shot. Said I should take you think I gotta rest. I'm feeling so good. In me, I know it, but I'm misunderstood. Feeling like that, well, they say it's a lie, but I gotta tell ya, gotta live and let die. I gotta rest, I don't know I could.
Fire.
Marcus, who did that track? Do you know who did that track?
I don't know who did that track. Actually, I think it was a stock.
Oh,
I didn't there.
You need to hit us up when you need tracks next time. You know that's what we do over here.
All right, we on.
All right, everybody. Thanks, man. All right, so up next, Kamisha Turner with "Debt to the Queen," and we're gonna play her the little video first. Perfect. And I will mute myself.
I was like, one of the people went on the bar at one point when you were first opening that bar area, and just like really excited about what you do.
And that's Kristen Milana's work, yeah? Kamisha, do you want to talk us through the video a little bit?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect.
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes. So this is the most amazing beadwork artist, Kristen Milana. She really focuses on folklore and Black history, ancestry. Of course, this is the amazing Aramis Hamer. And this piece is called Who Am I? And just absolutely love it. It's kind of a departure a little bit from what you normally recognize of hers, you know, but it's just gorgeous. This is Miss Perry Roden, who I think she just sold a piece actually today, which I'm super jazzed about. And she really focuses on the feminine spirituality, feminine body. This is one of my pieces. This is a sculpture made out of crystals, sugar crystals that were also made out of my ancestors' ashes as well. And this is a beautiful piece by the Miss Takia Ward, which I just love because it really does look like from back far away. It's just those cute little candies that you love to eat and give to people. This is a beautiful piece by Miss Natasha Marin, and it's really funny because she thought that she couldn't really paint, and I was like, you're wrong, and proved her right. And it's beautiful. This piece is by Alicia Johnson, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know, who's an amazing community active member in the arts community here. And she also was very reluctant to participate, and I'm so glad she did because just love this piece about migration. Another piece that I did as well from the same series, this is called Universal Intelligence, and just about how women literally have a universe within their wombs. Yeah, and the whole show is called Debt to the Queen, just because obviously I think queens are owed a lot of debt. And it started off with this piece right there called Call Your Mama, hashtag Call Your Mama, because I think especially now that we're all like siloed into our homes and stuff, you know, we realize how important family is, and you know, call your mom. Moms are important. So anyway, yeah. That's the show in a little nutshell there.
It's an extraordinary exhibit, and if you are in the Capitol, find yourself in the Capitol Hill neighborhood, you can walk by Vermilion and see it. You're also a part of Vivid Matter Collective, and y'all have a pop-up shop right around the corner next to Molly Moon's, right? That's still going on, right? Do you want to talk about that at all? So
yeah.
If people at all aren't familiar with Vivid Matter Collective, I can't imagine that they aren't, but for those who don't know, can you give just a brief little talk about that?
Absolutely. So Vivid Matter Collective is the group of artists that actually did the Black Lives Matter mural. So the cool thing is the pop-up shop is literally kitty corner from that mural. So easy to find. Molly Moons, the owner Molly Moons, gave us the opportunity to have a pop-up shop there for a few months for free of charge, so that, you know, obviously Black artists are represented, and we can actually start making money off of our wares. And a lot of the people that are in the show, The Debt to the Queen, are from the Vivid Matter Collective. We've been a collective ever since we started that mural, and really become like a little family. And it's been amazing actually just kind of watching each other kind of grow and skyrocket and kick butt. And the thing I wanted to also say, if we have just a minute, about the Debt to the Queen show, is that it really is about Black women and Black mothers, because there's so many stereotypes with regards to Black women and motherhood and single motherhood. And I really wanted to, or sought to, disseminate that and break that up and showcase how much, you know, Black women go through in being an artist. So all the artists are obviously either Black women or Black mothers, and kind of just reflecting that in the work. And that's why you see like a womb, and you see, you know, Natasha's piece with the mother and the baby inside, and all of that. And we'll actually have a couple more shows. So Diana from Vermilion has been incredible in giving me the opportunity to curate 3 shows this year. So This show ends on the 28th, so I really hope you guys do get to see it in person. Really, it was really special to be able to get that roster of rock stars. And then next show will be Vivid Matter Collective specifically, called Zeitgeist, and it's just a reflection of the current times. And then the next month in April will be The King's Path, which is about Black men and Black fathers. So just wanted to make sure I gave space, since I have the opportunity to really hopefully put a positive spin on, you know, the stereotypes and the preconceptions that people have of Black people in general. And then my son decided to join us real quick. Say hi.
Hey. Hey. How are you?
Not yet. Just go. I'm almost done. Sorry.
Again,
Anyway,
it's
mom
such
life.
yeah, exactly. It's such an incredible show. I was actually like, I mean, I love all the artists in there, and I had a real feeling about Alicia's piece as well, because I'm not familiar with her as a visual artist, right? I know her community work is different, and she does it in a lot of different ways, but I'd never seen or recalled seeing like actual visual art, and it was so expressive, and I thought it was so unique to her, and I was happy to see her express in that way. But thank you again. I'm so glad you came to tell us about all your projects, and I can't wait till, you know, the next time we get an opportunity to collaborate. Right?
Thank you. You guys are amazing. I'm happy to be here.
All right, so I think without scrolling and hopefully remembering, I think we're on to our last little segment, which is Mixed Chick Chat, which is Naz and Kaya have, and I joined them this week for that. Kaya, did you want to talk about that a little bit?
I was thinking that we could both talk about it.
Yeah, let's do
it. Yeah, it was nice. We got to shoot from Blue Cone this week, and we had a little help we had a little tech team this time. So
thank goodness.
Yes.
Thank goodness. They're going to help us step our games up.
Yeah. So what?
That's Bobby Stills.
Yes, Bobby Stills. Thank you. What Mixed Chick Chat is me and Nadia started it when we were in shop, just to go on IG Live and kind of give our perspective on basically just what we were seeing at the shop and how we were feeling. And we decided to pick it up again while we were doing the Black Brilliance research to try and, you know, update the community or the people who, you know, follow us, I guess, with what we've been doing. And then, you know, we've been working with Carolyn for the past however months. And so it's perfect timing with Blue Cone and having that cool ass backdrop back there. How did you feel being on there with us?
I thought it was great. I thought it was fun. I thought it was nice and chatty, and we, I don't know, I thought maybe I dominated a little bit, but it was really good. It's good to start, you know, we've been so insular and working amongst ourselves and doing a lot of that deep foundation building and admin work and trying to get Forever Safe Spaces pulled together. And a lot of the things that it was just nice to be sharing out to the community things that we've been sort of like churning around in for so many months. So I was really happy to share a little bit of that. Talk about our paint and sip fundraiser that we did. That was super fun. But it was, you know, like, I don't see y'all enough anyway, so it was good to be in space and kick back a little bit and chat with y'all.
We were so happy to have you with us. And it was nice. So usually we do it just on IG, but thanks to Bobby Stills, we were able to pick it up with the Blue Cone Studios Facebook. We had it on YouTube. We had it on Instagram. Was it just those three? And so we got a lot of views. You said we got 500 views.
On my personal Instagram.
On your personal Instagram. So I still have to check everywhere else and see how many views we got, but it was awesome. I'm looking forward to do more in the future with you and with Naz.
And with Julie C.
And with Julie.
Julie C is the fourth member of our FSS team that she's been diligently working on some grant work. So she's not joining us today because deadlines loom, but really not any of this would be possible without her contribution and her her partnership in this whole process. That, you know, and then the last collaboration, speaking of Julie C., talking with Latanya about the participatory budgeting and how we, or no, well, just about how to tell those stories and how to move that, make that information palatable to the community. Like, that's a really interesting conversation to be a part of as well. So I'm looking forward to any ways that we may be able to participate in that. So thanks, everybody. I'm really happy to be here, sharing this from Blue Cone and being a part of this process. It's really, really being an honor to be with you all. And then I will pass it off to who is next.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Oh my gosh. Today's teaching's amazing. Yes, I see people clapping. Do it, because that was fantastic. I think some of those pieces are gonna like haunt me in a good way, just like that they're gonna stay with me inside my body, and I'm gonna like feel them. And I'm just like blown away by that. Also, like, I'm not someone who until recently, until I was able to see like local like Black folks and local Black and brown people make art, I just did not feel like art was something that I really connected with. And now I'm like, oh, it's actually, especially for me, queer art, like Black queer art is like, it's my jam, y'all. I just want to say thank you. Such great appreciation for the teams for sharing their work with us. And this is just like a little bit, right? Like, most of these teams, they are in so many different projects. The work that they do is informed by the fact that they're in all these different places in community, different relationships with community, have different conversations. I think for me, one thing that really stands out is this idea that we create safety, we create health, we create connection with each other. And so a big part of this research, you know, assumes that as well, and that we can use what we know as experts in our lived experience to help inform what needs to happen. That we look back and to see what has happened in the past in order to look forward to what is possible. We'll keep dreaming up new things that have just never happened before. What we're doing in Seattle has never been done before. We are creating spaces for community members themselves to define for themselves with each other what the future needs to look like. And this research is just a mechanism to do that. It's also a space and a container for us to develop relationships with each other that are healthy and that are going to promote the world we want to see. It's a space to innovate. It's a space to make mistakes and try to fix them. It's a space to be creative. And all of the teams bring that with them, as well as a strong commitment to community to carry this work forward in the way that community wants to see. I'm really excited to share space with such fantastic people. One of the things that I want to hold up as we start to wrap up this part of the teach-in and wrap up this part of the research is that we are in our final push, y'all. Our final few days of collecting data, also of talking to community. When I say collecting data, what I've noticed is some people imagine that we're just like literally hitting up random people with like a 500-page survey and being like, you know, please fill this out. That is not what research has to look like. That's definitely not what this research looks like. This looks like, you know, hitting people up and being like, hey, I know that you are someone that is, you know, deeply committed to community. Let me tell you about this project. What do you think? And then listening to their reflections, them saying, oh, well, let me bring it back to my people. You want to come with me? You know, talk to them about it. And then like you go to this thing, you're like, here's what's up. And they're like, that sounds cool. And then they have questions for you. You're like, hold on, let me talk to my people and get back to you. So it's a lot of conversation. It's a lot of building stuff together, making art together, making songs together, puzzling things out. And then it's also a lot of, it's just honestly, it's a lot of talking. It's a lot of phone calls. It's a lot of emails. It's a lot of, hey, can you come here right quick? I'm going to be going to this thing. I need you to be there. And it has been beautiful. I would not trade this time for anything. And I know many of the teams feel the same way. There's a couple of things I want to share out more broadly about the PB process, which is, again, the next step. We did all this research for what? So that we can write a 1,000+ page report? Nah, we did this because we want to change the way that our city and county invest in our communities. Because while we know that we have the solutions like amongst ourselves and that we have the capacity to create healing and wholeness and wellness and just beauty, we also know that investments matter. You can't just say like, okay, well, go out and somehow make a way out of no way. It's like, no, we're done with that. Like, it's time to actually put the investments where they need to be and to stop investing in the systems that harm us. So PB, y'all, I'm going to show you a couple of quick slides, and then I'll hand it off to Latanya, I think, maybe to close this out. One is the first slide I'm going to show y'all. All right, I got to give you context because you're not going to know what you're looking at. Ready? Okay. The first question people ask me once they hear about PB, they're like, that sounds cool. The community is going to decide like the ideas and they're going to vote on them and it's going to happen. Who's really going to be in charge, right? Like, you want to know who are the people behind the process, because without knowing that piece of information, it's hard to know how much you can trust it. Over and over again, the many different cities that have done PB, there has been a steering committee, a group of people who help to shepherd along the process. They make the rules. They also are the people that you talk to or engage with when you have questions or ideas about the process. Now, from the very first time, this like last year when we won PB and it was gonna happen, we're like, yeah, and we're like, this is great. There was another process that was kicked off by the mayor's office to create a task force. And consistently, one of the things that we've said is there's no need to pit us against each other. We all care about community. But the PB process is going to be truly about expanding the decision-making table. And the task force process is about shrinking the decision-making table. And these two things were just like pitted against each other like they're competing processes. And to some extent, I can understand why. But with PB, that expanding the decision-making table, you still have a couple of core people who are going to be accountable, responsible for making sure this thing goes well. Those people include the steering committee. The steering committee is will be a small group of about 7 people who will help to decide the rules and like the process. But they won't be alone because we've written this huge report that's a roadmap to help them out so they don't have to invent like years worth of, analysis of how to actually do this thing. So the steering committee, once people learn that there's a steering committee, they're like, okay, who are they? Can I meet them? It's like, no, they haven't been picked yet. Like we're not there yet, y'all. Like, hold on. Like, we put the criteria together. We still got to turn it into something like a job description. People have to apply. Like, wouldn't you be pissed or sorry, we're on TV, mad if someone was just like, oh, by the way, like we did this thing and here's your people going to be decided. I'd be mad. I'd be like, who are you to decide? So community will get to decide, but how? So we thought about this. We talked to community. We talked to so many people. And what we landed with is there will be a jury that'll get picked from the most highly, capable people who will then review all the other applications. So let me show you a picture because I know a lot of us are visual folks. Sometimes I am if my kid isn't crawling on me. Here's what we got. So there's basically 3 steps to get us to a steering committee. 1, we have to post the job descriptions and it'll include the criteria. We've been talking about the criteria for weeks, but basically it's like those people and communities that have been locked out of decision-making power, like the more like that's part of their experience, the more capable they are to be part of the steering committee. So that includes people who've been incarcerated. That includes people who are, oh gosh, I'm blanking. There's like 10 things, y'all. It's like people who've been incarcerated, Black women, people from the African diaspora.
At least 2 youth.
At least 2 youth, thank you. Someone appointed from the Duwamish tribe. Who else?
Folks who work with, who have experience working with marginalized communities.
Yeah. And there's like a few more things.
We can drop them in the comments.
We'll drop them in the comments. So we have these things, and like the more of those lived experiences someone has, the more qualified they are to serve on the steering committee. Now, I don't know about y'all, but this is what I'm used to. Sometimes I'm really qualified for a job or an opportunity, but the people who are reviewing the applications who have 0 experience, like being able to determine who's qualified are the ones actually deciding. We can't have that. So instead, the city is going to post and the communities will share these job descriptions. And then out of the most like highly capable people, because their applications will be scored, a random selection of them will become a jury. And then that jury, again, of like highly qualified people, could have been on the steering committee, but instead are on the jury, will get to decide who's actually on the steering committee. So that jury will review all the other applications and say, here are our people who will help steward along PB. So that is something I've been hearing a lot of questions about. That's what the process is. The idea with this process is you trust community. You truly trust that those who are closest to the issues are closest to the solutions and will be able to make the right call for who should shepherd this process. That's why it's that random selection. But you also trust that you need actual people to like read through applications and decide like, yes, you know, this and that, and oh, yep, that makes sense. And so that's what that process looks like, 2 steps. For those of you who are like, when is all of that going to happen? Because that's usually the next part, because people get excited and they're like, I have some ideas. And it's like, great, you know, before, you know, that's going to be in March. So February 26th, we present our report. March, we're going to see some job descriptions. People are going to be putting in their names and the names of other people that they think would be great for it. And then we're going to start that process of creating that steering committee. March is also likely to be the same month that people will start suggesting ideas. I don't know about y'all, but ever since we start talking to people, people are just like, what about if, how about we, you know, what it would look like if. People are excited, they're ready. And so creating a mechanism where people can start submitting their ideas while they anxiously wait to see who's going to be sort of running the rules part of the show is what that process is going to look like. Just gonna pause. I'm just looking at my notes. Oh, okay, cool. All right, we're gonna do a pop quiz. You ready? All right. No? Okay, get ready. Okay, cool. Here we go. Who owns participatory budgeting? Who owns PB?
No one org. Everybody owns it. Everybody owns PB. We all get to own PB.
Everybody gets to own it. Community gets to own it. No one org, no one department, no one like anything. Like literally, this is on all of us. In fact, if community doesn't decide that they're going to own this process, then it won't be able to happen. It just won't be successful, because what we've proposed has literally never been done before. For there to be such a community held process for participatory budgeting, where we the people get to design the process, where we the people get to say what the ideas are, vote on the ideas, and have that be funded, that hasn't happened before. But I really believe in our communities. I know that we can do this because we've talked to thousands of people and they're like, yeah, we can do this. And I definitely know that we can do this in a way that is inclusive and supportive, because we are all committed to the idea of creating a better world together. That is just facts. Like, we might not all agree on exactly the best way to do it, but guess what? That's the best part, is that we don't have to. We don't have to rely on, like, you know, being 100% on the same page all the time to move things forward, because that's never been the way change has been able to move forward. So I'm really excited to see that. If you are looking for resources for the research, for participatory budgeting, you just want to know what the hell's going on, you want to pop into some office hours and ask a bunch of questions, you want to tell us, oh my gosh, I have a better idea of how to do this whole thing, please check out our link. We're going to drop it in the chat. It is, I'm going to say it a few times because every time I say it, like I stumble. So eztree.me/Black Brilliance Research. That's eztree.me/Black Brilliance Research. And the reason, and that's not like easy, like the word easy. It's like literally E, the letter Z, and then the word tree.me/Black Brilliance Research. Easy Tree is a Black woman-owned alternative to Linktree. It is awesome. It has more features. Just putting it out there, and I love it. So if you are someone that is just looking for one link to do all your heavy work for you, Easy Tree. So check it out. Latanya, is there anything else we should share before we close out?
Let's see. Let me drop Easy Tree here for
Sorry.
Nas. Can you go ahead and promote the Easy Tree
I see it on
website?
Thank you.
All right, cool. Let's see. It looks like we might have some events this week. Do you want to talk about that? The Wednesday survey party?
Yeah, I do want to talk about that. I have totally finished creating the promo for that in like an hour. I will complete it. So basically, we are hosting a few different events this week. One that I am really excited to share with y'all today, because I totally plan to do that, is going to happen Wednesday at 10 o'clock. I'm going to host, thanks to Alphabet Alliance of Color, an event where people will come in, learn about the research, learn about PB, and fill out the survey while they're there. Looking to get some snacks for y'all. And that in that space, we are prioritizing people who are QT BIPOC folks. That's queer, trans, Black, and brown peoples. And so if you want to check that out, I don't know where it's going to live, but it'll probably live on easytree.me/Black Brilliance Research for the flyer. And and if this is a great way to reach y'all, let us know. I'm happy to host a come fill out the survey with us party for people who are interested. You can also join us for office hours, like always, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. And people come in all the time. And they ask us questions and they offer suggestions and they hang out with us and like listen to music. I mean, it's a pretty informal space. If you come late, don't apologize for being late. There's no real late. If you leave early, don't apologize. There's no real like time you leave. It's just a time for us to informally be available to y'all and to, hang out. Any other things that we should do?
I think just the last thing I'd say is, if you are interested and motivated and excited to tell more people about participatory budgeting, do it. We have information for you, some resources. I'm going to drop a link here for to be posted into the comments. So this one is easytree.me/SeattlePB_outreach, but that'll be online. This you can find our latest teach-in on participatory budgeting. We also did a Train the Trainer event in which we basically talked through how folks would do their own teach-in. We want everybody doing teach-ins. You could do a PB party, get your friends on Zoom, do a socially distancing PB thing outside in the snow, whatever works. No, too cold?
Sorry, it's too cold for that.
I don't know, man. Some
okay,
people
tell you what, if you do it, please
take pictures. Yeah, yes. Take pictures, record it, and post it. Also on there, we will link a toolkit. We created a toolkit for folks to use to help them spread the word about PB. It has information about what PB is, how other folks can get involved, what the steering committee is about, how you go from idea to a funded project, and it also has some media stuff. If you're interested in being more involved in creating content, please definitely hit us up. I think we have our survey for how you want to be involved in PB on there as well, and you can let us know. Oh, Sean's got it. It's beautiful. I love this first page. Kind of looks like a menu, so you can do kind of some, you can use some or all of these different activities. And let's see, some of the items on the main dish, we have some videos that kind of set the stage. The only reason we got to PB is folks being in the street calling to defund the police and reinvesting those funds into a participatory budgeting process to reinvest in community. And so we have some kind of grounding videos on here that talk about divestment, as well as divest to reinvest, and then also some videos about what kind of future do we want to envision. That's definitely my favorite video on here. So we got information about how the research feeds into the PB process. All this is included in the teach-in, as well as the Train the Trainer. Some of the sides are some activities you can do with folks. The improv games, not my favorite, but Sean really likes them. And then a couple treats where you can do some podcasts and focus groups with folks to promote PB or just kind of have a conversation. I believe last week we had some conversations. Just let's chat about what PB is all about. Let's learn about it together. And that's a cool way to, learn more, as well as inform others about the process. So I think that's all I got.
Yeah, I would say Music Labs is one of my favorites. That's
Oh, yeah.
inspired by the Hip Hop Propaganda Lab that's working to help us to disseminate information about the findings of the research and PB and all of that. So inspired by that, two of our research teams do like create music or includes like music artists as part of their team. So it's been pretty cool to see the work coming out of them in particular. Because y'all are just so fucking so freaking creative.
Sean, I tell you, Sean's
almost made it.
you're so close, you know. It's all good.
Oh wow.
Someone will edit it out, maybe. I don't know how this works.
There's no hope. That's okay. I feel like, again, don't wait for permission. Like, no one needs to give you permission to talk to your community about the things that matter, including participatory budgeting. Like, literally, no one's in charge of this except for all of us. So let's get to work. And we'll see you next Monday. Next Monday will be a press event. So if y'all have been following, you know that sometimes our teach-ins are just community focused. I love it. And sometimes we invite press to join us to ask questions. And so next week will be a press event because it'll be one of our last teach-ins. It'll be after we're intending to have submitted the written version of the final report. And so we want there to be an opportunity for people to ask questions. So we'll see you there. I don't know who's hosting. I don't know if it'll be Forever Safe Spaces again, or we'll figure it out. But you know where to go. easytree.me/Black Brilliance Research. You like that? I just kind of made that up.
It was fantastic. We'll get you in the studio real quick.
Oh God, no. All right,
Carolyn's ready for you.
No, I'm good. We'll see you next time.
All right. Naz, you can shut it down.